Hi everyone. Very much welcome to Become Emergent, our recruitment event. I'm Liam, I'm the current president. As opposed to our other events this past year, I'm not gonna be the host tonight. I'm kind of here to introduce and support the new president of Emergent. So he has been a driving force within Immersion for the past year, building up our organization, our events, doing a lot of stuff there. His level of integrity far surpasses mine, as he has shown on multiple occasions where he knew how to, what the right thing to do was immediately. And he's really a people person, I would say, building relationships, forming real connections. I like to believe that I have formed a real connection with him, but unfortunately, he doesn't feel the same way about me. I admire him, and I wish him the best of luck during what is sure to be a roller coaster of a year. So thank you very much, Michiel. Please come to the stage and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Liam. So, sorry for the bright lights. So I'm Michiel. Hi. At this moment, I'm lead talk, so I organize all the talks for Emergent during this academic year. Sadly, all our talks are already over, so stay tuned for next year if you join. So how did I came up with to join Immersion? Well, a little bit over a year ago, I came back from an exchange to I went to Seoul, the capital of South Korea, and I came back and I wanted a new extracurricular opportunity, like more a challenge for myself. And I was looking around, not finding really anything. And I came across Emergent. And what I really liked is that the overall vibe and really the responsibility you get from day one. They really want that you learn something, and not that you're like a piece in the machinery to make sure that the organizations stays healthy. It's more that they want you to learn more. And that was what drew me to Emergent. Yeah, apart from that, also the fun part, I went to my first event was Shape Emergent, which was we organized it each year to define what we want to do with Emergent in the upcoming years mostly. So what our values are, what we want to organize. And it was actually my first event, I really liked it, so I stayed. And now a year later, and I'm gonna lead the team hopefully next year, well, probably next year. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if enough people apply, of course, but I think they will. So first of all, what is Emergent? We have actually 5 different units. What we use. We first of all have the workshops where you, from industry experts, you get to learn a new skill. This can be very technical, for example, our Neo4j workshop, or very beginner, like our Campfire AI workshop. I personally worked at Campfire AI as an intern this summer, and it's implementation of a conversational AI. It sounds difficult, but it's implementation, and you really get the hang of it very quickly, and you're not writing code. With Neo4j, that's more technical, then you need some knowledge beforehand. So we really try to offer a wide variety. Then we have our talks, that's what I organized this year. And there as well, for me, one of the key points was that everyone who should come to a talk should have learned something. Even if you know knowledge at all, then you should, hey, I learned that. And even for the technical people as well, and that was one of my my key points. Then our challenges, which I come back to later. I did have a good challenge, very interesting event, our flagship event. Our consulting projects. Very important as well. If you want some more time committed to some things, if you think, okay, I have a semester, I have some free time, I have not a lot of credits, or if you're a really ambitious person, you can go for the consulting projects. It's like a whole semester, but we're gonna introduce that later on as well. And last but not least, our career event. We actually have a career event lining up next week with a lot of interesting partners. So definitely check that out. It's definitely worth going. And then, to start off, our flagship event, our challenge, the Data for Good challenge. If the video is going to load, let's see the after movie.
one team will be crowned the overall winner of the 2021 Data for Good Challenge.
Wow, even half a year later, it still gives me goosebumps because I really remember every moment of that challenge, and there was a lot of preparation around it, but it's all worth it. So, but if it wants to work. So, but what does immersion actually mean? Like, it's a weird name, right? I don't think a lot of people of you know what it means. So actually, recently we launched our first episode of our new podcast, and there we invited the founder and re-founder of Emergent, Bruno and Ruben, and Bruno described it like this.
Actually, in the first 3 or 4 years of Emergent, it was more about multidisciplinarity. That's also where the names actually is coming from originally, from the biological systems, like a number of cells needing to work together and like being more than just the mere sum of its parts.
So that's something that Immersion stands for in our view. We're doing more than just the combination of what we all can achieve individually.
Yeah. So very abstract definition over here. Let me try to clear it up with a couple of examples being more than the sum of its parts. So this is a big example. So this is actually built by termites, and this is multiple Michiels on top of each other in size. So you have millions of little termites working together to build this giant, hill is what they call it, the Termite Hill. So you have very small parts by themselves. They can't accomplish anything. They're termites. But when you put them together and you impose kind of a social structure on them, which is what they do, they form social structures together, they can accomplish these giant termite hills, which they've reported them to be over 14 meters high. And there's actually even bigger than that. There's networks of these in Brazil, which are made up of 200 million of these big hills in Brazil. So it just shows that, the whole can be a lot more than the sum of its parts. And so I try to connect that to data science, artificial intelligence. So when you have a single neuron in our brain or in a neural network, by itself, it's either it fires electric signals or it does a simple sum operation. So by itself, it doesn't do much. But when you combine it in a huge brain, it gives rise to consciousness, which, none of us understand it. And when you put it in a neural network together, you can make some amazingly accurate predictions of this is a dog versus this is a muffin, for example. So again, an example of an emergent process, what we call it. And a third example is, of course, the Emergent Board itself, because by themselves we're all idiots. I have no clue how to organize an event. So by myself I wouldn't be able to do anything. But when you put these people together in a team and you let them build relationships, work together, by themselves they can't do anything. They're all little babies. We're all little babies. I am too. But when you put them together, they can accomplish something as great as the Data for Good, which is, we all work together, all of Emergent works together towards this event and builds this amazing thing out of nothing. And so Emergent itself can be seen also as an example of an emergent process. And I think that's beautiful. Yeah. All right, so I'll pass the word back to Michiel now.
So now that we have spiked your interest or piqued your interest about Emergent and showed you what we all do, maybe you want to join Emergent, which I think you will. So what way can we offer you? Well, first of all, personal development. What I learned the past year from Immersion, it's for me, it's indescribable. Going from learning business tools like a messaging platform Slack to communication with companies, to organizing really like thinking of this tiny remote that you need to rent out if you don't have one. It's all the small things that make an event great, and that's my personal experience. But in many other functions in our organization, it works as well. Networking, meet like-minded students, meet your future employer. All things that they can really bring value to you, and of course, while enjoying a free drink, why not? Alcohol free. Both can be fun. Career prospects as well, like I already mentioned. You can meet your future employer. You can meet the company that you would like to work for. We will have to work a long time for sure. So why not try to see what's out there? It's nothing worse than getting a job, landing a job that you don't like. But fun is at the core for me. I really want, they're gonna be tough times. Around Did Have Good challenge, it's gonna be a lot of work, but the gratification and the feeling that you put such an event out there and that it worked fine and it went smoothly, it's indescribable. And I think it's also part of the fun to be as a team, organize things, and we enjoy the life as a student and learn things with it. As I already said, learning while having fun is going to be a little bit my motto. It's a little bit cliche, I know, but I like cliches sometimes. We organize a lot of internal activities as well. I think if you put some time in, you should get something out of it as well. You get, of course, amazing connections, some friends. But we see, we do a team weekend, we do team buildings. We go to after drinks after an event or in general. And I want to expand it even more. Maybe do a regular dinner every semester or anything. Because I really think if you can create a good atmosphere, then the working together will work better even. So you already saw some of my key points I want to introduce into Emergent. They're already there. For example, accessible and inclusive is already there in Emergent. We have a very diverse, a board that's from a lot of origins, a lot of countries, a lot of languages are spoken. That's why we talk English as well. And for me, accessible is a really key point. Like I already said in my talk, I want that everyone, non-technical, technical, has learned something. I don't want to forget the technical people, because they're important too. But it's nice, for me, it would be very nice if someone who studies theology talks with someone who's studying computer science, and they learn something for each other. I think that's really important. That's also why when I organize a talk, I never would have wanted to do it with the COVID restriction and all, without a reception. Because I think after a talk, you've been there listening to information, and then you come to the reception, get yourself a drink, and talk with people like, hey, I noticed this. Did you know that? I read that somewhere. Oh yeah. And then you can talk. You can talk for hours. I think that's one of the things I like the most. So as I already said, and then inclusive as well. I don't know if you know this picture. It went viral. It's a little boy that recognized himself in a Disney movie, and for me, that was when I really understood that representation matters. You can have the capabilities to do a lot of things in your life, but if you don't think you can do it, then you probably won't do it. And that's why I think when you look at data world or the tech world in general, there's still a lot of people recognize themselves. Okay, I'm a woman, she's a woman, and she's doing that, so I can probably do that as well. But same for gender, for ethnicity, etc. I really think that if you can present someone who is doing that role already, or who's doing that position already, that you think, okay, I can do that as well. And that's something I really care about. Also responsibility, as I already mentioned, the thing that drew me to Emergent was I could be in charge of my event. I had an idea for a talk. I wanted to do a talk about data and sports, and I did it because I wanted to do it. And that's something that I really value in this organization. Nothing is. There are some guidelines to guide you, because of course you cannot totally start from scratch. But I do feel that's very important, in my opinion. Show me what you got, as a punch phrase. And last but not least, board perks. That's something I want to focus on as well. Giving you something back. Doing something on going for drinks, and for example, Immersion pays for a round and such. I think that's really important. Or we can do some fun activity, going on to an amusement park or anything. Like, I'm open to any ideas, really. Creating a good vibe is something I want to do. So now. Let's talk recruitment. Let's talk, if you're not convinced that you want to join Immersion, which I think you probably will, then we have to talk what are the positions that are open.
All right, so let's dig into it a bit. I'm going to start out. Michiel is going to finish it off. So there's 2 levels of commitment within Emergent. The first is the executive board, which is the leadership of Emergent, basically. And it's about making strategic decisions, making sure that the organization grows in the same direction, making sure that everyone is having a good time. But so these roles are pretty high commitment, pretty high availability, high responsibility, but also highly rewarding, or I wouldn't have been doing it for 2 years in a row now. And then on the other side, you have the leads, which are equally important, but a bit more flexible, a bit less of a time commitment, but you still get that, what Michiel likes to call responsibility. I like to call it ownership. I think it's a much better term. Ownership over certain tasks, activities. So you organize your own events, you organize your own marketing campaign. You have contact with your own partners, etc. So you still get kind of a chunk of Emergent that's all yours, and you get to do the decision making. You get to search, who are my stakeholders? What do I need to do to get this done? Of course, you're not doing it alone. You're doing it together with your leads and your executive board and everyone else. But you are the end owner of your set of responsibilities. So this is, sorry for blinding you. Should have done all dark slides or all white. So this is kind of the structure of Emergent. So we have 6 teams, I guess. And this is kind of our hierarchy, but we try as much as possible not to, fall victim to the hierarchy. We try to work cross-functionally. You don't just report to your director if you're a lead. You sit together in meetings together with the president, with the vice president, with the lead of other events. So you work cross-functionally. You work together with people from all over the organization. So it's not like the teams are isolated and there's a strict hierarchy. Because we try to adhere to some of the principles that Emergent was founded on. And basically when Emergent started out, before I even joined, what they did on a recruitment event was they threw a party. People like you, they came to the party and they said, hi, I might be interested in joining Emergent. They gave those people a sweater and they said, you're part of Emergent now. And that's all there was. There was no discussion of roles. Everyone just did whatever they wanted to do, I guess. We kind of learned from that because it died out after a while. And so we tried to make Emergent more efficient, but we still value those principles that it was founded on, like that we try to be flat and we try to work together, all of us, and everyone can, have an input on anything. That's the main point I wanted to make on this slide. So let's dig into these individual teams. So let's start indeed with the executive board, which is made up of the president, who makes kind of the strategic decisions. He's the external face of Emergent. This is also the only position that's already been filled. All of the other positions that we're going to mention during this presentation are open to you. For example, the vice president, we're looking for a vice president for Michiel, someone to be his right-hand man, if you can handle it. So the vice president kind of ensures that everything goes smooth operationally, and that, communication flows, etc. Some more buzzwords. Finance and legal director manages our finances and our legals, I guess. So making sure that we have enough money left, and deciding how much of it to spend on beer. The team directors, I'm gonna go into those in a second with all the other teams, because they're also part of the individual teams, of course, not just the executive board. So before that, I wanna let Amitosh say a few words about his experience as vice president. So Amit, come up here. Tell us what it was like and what you've learned as the VP.
Hi everyone. So Michiel indeed reached out yesterday to me, and he told me to just take 1 minute and just explain what you do as a vice president, why you joined Emergent. But yeah, a minute is not a lot, Michiel, I'm just saying. So I have to really narrow down my stories. I could tell you about why I joined Emergent and how I became the vice president through the consulting projects and got an internship in the process. I could tell you about how me and Liam stood here just a year ago and explained what we wanted to do with the organization to actually a very similar audience. Jesus. Or I could explain how I made amazing friends, and I'm really proud of everyone and what we achieved this year. But what I really want to tell about being the vice president is that it's a roller coaster of fun and learning. Like, I learned amazing things, and it's what I love about my position is that I really have the freedom to give my input everywhere. Gunnar needs help, I can help him out with that. Astrid needs something, I can go and give my input on that. But like every superhero cliche says, a lot of freedom comes with a lot of responsibility. And as the vice president, you really have to be engaged with everyone, be a critical thinker, a problem solver, really someone that is there to actually manage all the chaos and the crisis. And if you're really up to that, you should definitely sign up. Either way, come grab a drink with me after this event and we can talk about any story.
Thank you very much, Amitosh. I'll give you a hug later. That was very touching. I would like to make Emergent into a hugging culture. But, we'll get there. Maybe next year, Michiel. So next up, we have Team Digital. Purpose of this team is to get people to come to our events. Not just to get as many people, which is, of course, important, but also a variety of people and people from different backgrounds, etc. So it's all about maintaining our presence on social media, making posts, making creative designs in Photoshop or Canva, thinking about how can we position our message to come across as effectively as possible, but also about other channels like email or websites. It's about also collecting data through surveys, etc. So that we can analyze that and see how we can do better for the students that we organize our events and our projects for, make more effective decisions. So the team has a director who kind of manages his team. He oversees, he or she oversees all of the different marketing campaigns and our brand as a whole. Then we have our marketing campaign leads. They work together with the lead of an event or of the consulting projects to design those marketing campaigns from scratch. So from design to posting on social media to everything else that's involved in getting students to our events. Then we have lead IT and analytics, which is more kind of the infrastructure side and the data side. So setting up our websites, creating surveys, analyzing them, etc. And then a new function, which is called lead content and podcasts. So we actually, we have started on podcasts. Michiel started on it. We want to bake it into a new position. And as well as that, kind of the content part, which is kind of like, if you want to be an influencer, this is the function for you. I wish I had been here for that. But yeah, it's about creating content, educational, but entertainment as well. So you can do that through whatever means you want, through our existing channels, through our newly created TikTok, which does not have any content yet. I don't know, whatever you want to do, that's for you. And so right now, let's hear it actually from Astrid, who is the current, she's actually responsible for bringing you all here because she's the one who managed the recruitment marketing campaign. So let's hear it from you on your experience.
Yeah, and I was apparently not that very good at it because, well, I mean, we did have some good turnout. So hello everyone, I'm one of the current lead marketing campaigns. At the start of this academic year, we actually called it channel owners. And I started doing this remote because I was on exchange in Switzerland. So the role is definitely combinable with a lot of extracurricular activities, or you actually don't need to be physically present all the time. It did learn me a lot about how to plan my work and definitely like some time management. I also learned how to use Canva and how to be creative and how to design Facebook banners, LinkedIn banners, Instagram posts. So at the beginning of the year, I was responsible for LinkedIn, and I learned all the LinkedIns and outs of the platform. But then, as this required a lot of our time, we adapted it to campaign owners, meaning that every lead is just responsible for their campaigns and needs to be present for their campaigns. So this really showed us that if there's ever a problem, the people of Emergent really listen to our problems. If you don't have time to do something or something's not working out, you want a little bit less responsibility or you want a bit more of responsibility. It is always we're always able to talk about it, and yeah, Emergent will. It's really a community of people that want to help out each other, and that's what I really liked about this.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So, thank you, Astrid. Now let's go to team consulting projects. Michiel, I told you scrolling works the other way. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. All right. So consulting, right? So Michiel briefly touched on it already, but consulting is kind of a branch within Immersion that organizes consulting projects, which is real life data science and AI applications for actual businesses. So not just the theoretical stuff, but actually doing something that creates value, that makes money for a business, hopefully. So this team is made up of, a bunch of different roles, but I think one important caveat in team consulting is that these roles are kind of informally, divided within the team. So you need to be open to do anything within consulting team to join this team, because it's very much a flexible kind of team in the organization. So we have our consulting project director, who's responsible for everything that the team does. So from recruiting students for the projects, finding clients, contacting partners, making sure the projects get done well, and responsible. Then we have the lead clients, who is responsible for actually selling the projects to, finding clients and then making money, bringing in the big bucks. Lead CP events, responsible for organizing the physical events that CP organizes, like the info event, the end event, the workshops or team buildings in between, so the operational stuff. And then the lead projects, who are kind of team leaders, who are put on a project to ensure that, when you have a project, that the client actually gets happy. So you need to have some technical skills, some data science skills, some people skills to ensure that a project can come to completion and that the client is happy. So that's the consulting team, and now here's my main man Branko, who's gonna tell you all about it. He's He's also the lead memes, which is arguably the most important function in the organization. Well, less important than my function, but more important than Michiel's function.
Yes, thank you, Liam. So I'm going to tell you why you should join Team Consulting Projects. First of all, it's just the best team. That's a fact. Yes, thank you. It's definitely the best team. We make the most money at Emergent. Don't want to brag, but I will. And yes, I will brag because I really want to brag not only about myself, but mainly more about Emergent and why it's such a cool place to be a part of. A few weeks ago, I applied for a job, actually, and I applied for a job at AWS. And I had to do 4 interviews in one day, really long and tedious process, in my opinion. But actually, it was just a day talking about Emergent. And yeah, it really was because I had to give examples of points in my life where I had to make a decision, things like that. Points in my life I had to face a problem that I did not immediately knew the answer to. All of these kind of stupid questions that you will definitely get in your life. So it was basically a day talking about things I did at Emergent. So I think it's a good example of how Emergent is already helping me in my future life at this point, because I actually got the job. So I think they were very interested in Emergent. So maybe more about consulting projects specifically. I think it's just a great team, not only because we're a really close group of friends that do things together, like we go make a walk or we have a consulting project dinner, all cool things like that, but only also because the things we do, we really see a lot of what our work brings. We see a group of 4 people that don't know each other at all, and at the end of the semester they built a school ML model that a company is actually using. So if you really want to see data science in practice, this is your team, I think. And maybe to go a little bit deeper on the most important function we have at Immersion, it's lead memes. I always try to provide at least one meme every general meeting. Maybe one day there will be a meme competition in Emergent, maybe one day. Maybe in the next board, I don't know. But I think it just shows that we're just a group of fun people that all share the same interests, and I think that's actually the best part of Emergent. We already talked a lot about it, that we're trying to be an inclusive organization, and me, myself, I'm part of a youth movement that tries to be inclusive, but I've never felt so included in any organization as in Emergent, because we're not just a bunch of people, we're just a bunch of nerds, and we kind of feel each other. So I think that's just the best part of Emergent, that everyone can just be like 100% themselves. And if you're looking for such an environment, Team CP is definitely the place to be.
All right. I can definitely vouch that you can really be yourself in Emergent. Some people would say, in my case, a little bit too much, but yeah, whatever. I don't care. And actually, I'm going to pass the word back to Michiel now for the rest of the presentation. So this is goodbye from me for now, but I would very much like to talk to you later at reception. Come to me, talk to me. I'm very lonely.
Yeah, definitely do that. Otherwise, no. So now I'm gonna talk about team events. The best team, Branko. No, I cannot take. I'm the president now. Every team is the same. We're inclusive. Anyway, events. So the structure, we have an events director. So that's gonna be managing the whole events team. Like you see, it's a big team. So here, it's very important that the communication runs smoothly. That we have events, checkups, and so on. That there is really a good information flow and everyone knows what everyone is up to. That we can efficiently scale our events if needed and efficiently organizing them as well. Then the lead talks, the position I'm currently doing. It's a really varied position. I really liked it. From looking for the speakers, you really web scrape LinkedIn. Go like for my data and sport, I just typed in data sports Brussels, And I came so many profiles, like, okay, interesting. Who's out there? Who can provide me with an interesting talk? So it's really interesting to see what you can all do with it. Then lead workshops. That's what Guno is going to talk about a little bit later on. It's really organizing these workshops, giving the skill sets to people that they don't previously own yet. Lead career. She's over there, Gitte. She's also our events director. And I do think for you guys, when you think, okay, about an internship or a job, meeting new companies through a career event can be really interesting as well. A nice career event even. And then lead logistics. All these events, they require logistics. And like I said, the pointer, the drinks, a fridge, glasses, everything you can possibly imagine. It's only to be done. It's only to be reserved. And then Data for Good challenge. Like I already showed you, the after movie was awesome. But we definitely need some people for that as well. Elite Data for Good challenge. We guys manage the whole operation. And then we have operations, marketing, and challenge, which speak for themselves, in my opinion. So yeah, big team events, but definitely worth to check it out. And now Guno is going to tell you about his experience in team events and how, why he chose Immersion as well.
Thanks, Michiel. Before I say something, I want to thank Liam. You're amazing. You're the great president. I'm pretty sure every one of us agrees. He will do great, but I want to at least say you're amazing as well. Anyway, my name is Guno. Currently, I'm in lead workshops, but here I would like to talk about more team events in general. I would like to stress that my immersion experience in team events has been extraordinary because organizing events is fascinating, right? Like you build a bridge between students and companies. It already sounds amazing, right? And personally, I learned and I am learning communication skills and the importance of staying disciplined because you are responsible for Immersion events. You're the face. It's yours. And I can guarantee that every Immersion member, but specifically team events member, Miguel, Gitte, Rich, Michiel, me, we learn how essential teamwork is in order to make everything happen. Like Liam stressed in his presentation, we were able to achieve everything just because we worked on it, not because I worked on it. We worked all together, and that's how we achieved everything. So, in a nutshell, I'm very looking forward to the next level, let's say, Immersion teamwork created by you.
Awesome. Yeah, he's right. Team events, awesome. Next up, team partner relations. Of course, to offer you these kind of events to still stay alive as an organization, you need money, and therefore you need partners as a student organization. So there we have a partners relation director who's going to oversee all the partner accounts, all the partner communication, maybe find new partners, etc., and really manage that division. And then we have some lead partner relations. As a lead partner relation, you're going to be responsible for certain partners, communication with them, and make sure that they're happy or their communication is well fed as well. And there are mainly two parts. You have the corporate relations part, which is actually where the money comes from, and they communicate with companies and they say, okay, you want to be on our event, okay. And you want to do another thing as well, and they're really going to try to find out what the companies want and what we can offer them. But then the non-corporate part is also very important. Keeping in touch with other organizations, keeping in touch with the KU Leuven. It's really important to build and maintain these relationships as well, and that's what you're going to do in that team. And as to give you also a little experience talk. Kumba is gonna give a short introduction of what an experience of what team partner relations is.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Michiel. So I really enjoyed my time at Emergent. I loved getting into contact with companies active in the data science and AI industry, and that were companies like startups, but also very large corporations. But I must say that it was hard in the beginning since I was totally new into the field. But I would say like one of the most difficult things that we face in PR is that you have to find a balance between keeping your long-term partners happy and giving them the opportunity to participate in events, as well as like giving the opportunity to new partners, which might also be cool to include. But I would say that all the struggles were worth it in the end. I learned to negotiate, I learned to manage a team, and also I learned to work cross-functionally with all the other Emergent teams, like with team events. If you have any questions left, feel free to ask me after this presentation.
Thank you, Kumba. And due to the team partners, partner relations team, sorry, we managed to get a lot of partnerships with a lot of big data and tech companies like Google, Amazon Web Services, and McKinsey, but also some smaller startup and companies you maybe might have heard of, like Agilitic and MN61, and maybe some companies you wouldn't expect in this field. Like, for example, banks, they need some data scientists. We work together with KBC and Belfius already. So there are really a lot of partners we have worked with and we want to work with as well. So last but not least, our team people. Why we can organize these events? It's because of team people. They are the glue. They make sure that we have a good general vibe, that we have internal activities, that we make sure that we get along, that we meet each other face to face for a casual conversation instead of a meeting, talking about an order that wasn't processed well for an event, for example. So we have the people director who's going to manage the team, and I'm also going to lead recruitment, which is today class, which he organized this event as well. Very nice. Thanks to his girlfriend as well for the decorations. And also we have a lead internal activities. Like I said, really, really important to me that you get something back as well, that you can have some fun for all the work you've put in. So, now that all the functions. Oh. Okay, this is very sad because this happened last year as well. So. Okay, sorry, class. My sincere apologies. So, class will give a short experience about his. Oh, this is too okay. My sincere apologies. Sorry, class. Go for it.
I was about to say thank you for the introduction, Michiel, but yeah, no. I joined Team People because what I liked about it is that you get in touch with all the different teams within Emergent, but you also get in touch with the alumni of Emergent, because as Emergent, we keep in touch with our alumni a lot, so that's really nice because they're really like professional people and smart people, and they also help us a lot in our events to like reach the next level. But what I liked in general about joining Emergent is that you get a lot of responsibility or ownership, whatever you call it. So you get a lot of responsibility, but you can choose yourself like how you want to fill in your position and how you want to accomplish that responsibility. So that's what I like the most about Emergent. And next to that, you also get to meet like a lot of nice people, and yeah, in general, it's a nice experience, and I can only recommend it to join Emergent. So, thanks, Michiel.
Again, I'm very sorry, but I think class convinced you even more to join us. So, what is next? If you think now, okay, yeah, you kind of convinced me. I want to see. I want to see things through. Well, then I have an application procedure, and it starts with the application deadline. So in 5 days, at the 20th of March, there is a deadline, and before that, you need to fill in a form. It's going to be available at the reception as well, where you give some basic information and your resume as well. Full disclosure, we actually don't really look at the resume. We mostly want to talk with you. That's why we do an interview as well. Everyone gets an interview because we feel that we really get to know your motivation and what you want to achieve and how you view things through an interview and not through a resume. Because a resume only tells you so much and you can really make it how you want. And then after the interviews happen, at the 27th of March, so in a week and a half on Sunday, we're gonna call you with a decision. What function we think is best for you. So that's a little bit our application procedure. So once you got the call, I'm gonna quickly see if I didn't forget anything. Once you got the call that you might be joining, then we're gonna organize a welcome party. But we didn't set the date yet, because maybe you should take out your phone, look at your calendar, and maybe see when you're available on the 28th or 29th. And maybe with a show of hands, we can decide what day we're going to do a welcome party that the most of people can join. So maybe if you guys can all look at your phone, see what your availabilities are. And then I'm going to do a show of hands maybe. So, I was available for our party, okay. So who would be available on the 28th? Show of hands. Okay. And would be available on the 29th? Okay, a little more that decides it then. Then it's the 29th, Liam. 29th. Okay. Okay, awesome. This 29th, mark it in your calendar. And then after that, in April, there's gonna be an onboarding. So then already your position starts a little. It's going to be it's going to be very flexible because you're not really in charge of it, but we do feel that the knowledge transfer is very important. Our board changes every year. That's not ideal for a company in general, so knowledge transfer is really important. This year we started out with physical events again. And we gathered a lot of information, gathered a lot of knowledge for like how to do it efficiently as well. And we want to pass it on to you, that you don't have to make the same mistakes, or look for which company are we going to use for our drinks order on an event, or which company are going to use for that and that and that, and which company can we have a free sponsorship with, and so on. And then really on the 1st of July, there are going to be the responsibilities shift. So the older lead is going to hand over the responsibility to you, and it's all up to you what you want to do and how you want to handle it. I think I didn't forget anything. So this was the end of our presentation. It hasn't been a little bit long, I know, but I hope you can still join us for a drink. I want to thank Klaas and his girlfriend as well for organizing this event. You did a great job. It's looking beautiful out there. I want to thank the whole Immersion team as well for this event, but for all the events we already did. I think we did an amazing job. I think maybe it's Liam's responsibility to say this, but I really felt that I could do more than I ever could have imagined. So yeah, let's talk and let's see what Immersion has to offer for you.